The Hunter Call of the Wild community has been buzzing about great ones ever since the whitetail great one was introduced in April of 2020. Since then, 5 more great ones have been added to the game. Expansive Worlds keeps quiet about the mechanics behind their spawns, but I've got a theory. A conspiracy theory, in fact, and the evidence, hidden in plain sight, might just shock you. Countless creators, myself included, have discussed herd management strategies, focusing on targeting mid-level animals, leaving the low-level ones alone, and prioritizing higher score estimates. We've even suggested stacking diamond potential and max-level animals, with some recommended taking out the troll max levels while only stacking diamonds. But now, I'm starting to wonder, what if we were wrong on how we herd manage and how it really does affect spawning the Great One? I've developed a theory that Great One mechanics is based solely on weight and nothing else. This makes their mechanics work exactly like a diamond, but with a Great One code, which, if true, could change how we herd manage for better results, and prove once and for all that herd management does increase the chance of a Great One spawn. In my day job, I spend a lot of time analyzing numbers and patterns, which, in my experience with patterns, I've noticed some trends in the game. After all, video games are essentially a series of numbers generating graphics, operating on mechanics that, while seemingly random, still follow specific rules. For instance, no matter how random the game appears, you'll never see a level 1 moose with a level 5 rack. Instead, you'll get 1 of 2 or 3 antlers available for that level. That's where the randomness comes in. But when it comes to great ones, I believe the process may not be as random as we all believe. Here are the facts. The difficulty level of animals is determined by weight ranges. Once an animal reaches a certain minimum weight, it can move up or down a level. For example, a level 5 moose has a medium difficulty rating and typically falls within a weight range of 545 to 620 kilograms. However, based on my observations, level 5 moose never weigh less than 590 kilograms despite being in that range. On the other hand, a level 4 moose can also fall within the 545 to 620 kilogram range. But after reviewing my saved screenshots of diamond level moose, the heaviest level 4 moose I've seen weighed 590 kilograms. When I look at troll level 5 moose, they also never seem to weigh less than 590 kilograms. In fact, I've even harvested a troll moose that weighed 600 kilograms. The reason some moose are classified as trolls despite their weight is due to the new TruRACS system. This system generates random antler formations which can lower their overall score, preventing them from reaching diamond status despite their weight. Why is this important? When the Hunter Call of the Wild was first released in 2017, medal ratings were based solely on an animal's weight. Back then, there was a well-known exploit where you could click on an animal's track and it would reveal the precise weight. If you knew the minimum weight required for a diamond animal, you could easily track it down and claim your trophy. Thankfully, this is no longer the case. I have to admit, the game has improved significantly since its launch. That being said, the core engine the game runs on is still in place, with all the updates and improvements built on top of that original foundation. Why do I believe this old mechanic is still running behind the scenes? It's simple. Look at your session scores in multiplayer, or the highest scoring trophy harvested by a weapon in the lodge. And on console, I'm not sure if this feature exists on PC, the top score of animals among friends. These features all rely on the old scoring system, which was based on a 1,000-point scale. I've also noticed that the heavier an animal is, regardless of its level, the more likely it is to have the highest scoring antler configuration for its weight. Let me explain. Taking max weight moose, for example, which weighs 620 kilograms. Because of its weight, it only has one antler option, the one the community calls the big rack. While the TruRACS system will still randomize the antlers within the limits of the big rack, no two will look exactly the same, but they'll all score a similar range. I know what you're thinking. So what, JBiz Hunts? Get to the point. What does all this have to do with the Great One? Well, here's the thing. Even though Great Ones are different from regular animals in the game and are completely random, these mechanics still play a role. Here's where it gets crazy. I started noticing similar patterns with Great Ones, particularly when it comes to their weight and antler configurations. Let's take great one fallow deer for example. Did you know that every sawblade great one fallow deer will weigh between 100 and 110 kilograms? Their antlers will always score the lowest among the 4 available antler types. Next up is the Irish elk rack, with weights typically between 110 and 120 kilograms, and they score the second highest. Then there's the big rack, which weighs between 120 and 130 kilograms, and scores third highest. Finally, there's the spoon or Mickey Mouse rack. This rack scores the highest, and as you expect, weighs the most, between 130 and 140 kilograms. You'll never find a max weight great one fallow deer with anything other than the spoon rack. Now, you might be thinking, well, JBiz Hunts, that's just fallow deer. Surely this isn't the case for other species. So I watched countless great one moose harvests on YouTube, and sure enough, the same pattern holds true. The spider rack scores the lowest, with the weighing between 620 and 630 kilograms. Next is the typical rack, then the big rack, and finally the quad rack scores the highest and weighs the most, usually in the 680s to 700 kilos. Same is true for great one black bears. Go look at the videos. The other clue was a supposed glitch that existed about a year ago with the mission black bear on Leighton Lake. It's called Mr. Black. Zaggy DK did a great video over 2 years ago about this supposed glitch, which has since been patched. The glitch was that max level bear, Mr. Black, on Leighton Lake's missions, which you could harvest, was spawning in as a great one. All mission animals are randomized for their level. Mr. Black can troll you, and he has the option that he could not make diamond despite being a max level animal. However, Zaggy DK shows that you can exit the game after encountering Mr. Black and come back to the same spawn in hopes of him being a great one instead of a legendary. He stated that this would happen 10% of the time. My theory is, this wasn't a glitch, but rather the game's mechanics working as expected, and the developers realized that they made a mistake because of the spawn rates for great ones being dependent on the weight, that Mr. Black, being a high weight trophy, had the same chance of spawning in as a great one than any other max level respawn. Think about it. If a diamond has a 1% spawn rate, and 10% of the time Mr. Black would spawn in as a great one, that would mean the great one spawn rate would be 0.1%. Here is my theory about how animals respawn in the Hunter Call of the Wild, and how the game's random number generation, or RNG, influences weight, levels, antlers, and fur types. This is something that can help you predict those elusive great ones. The first roll in the process is always weight. This is the foundation for the entire respawn. The game uses a plus or a minus factor to modify the weight of the animal you previously harvested. This modified weight determines the new animal's size, and as stated at the start of this video, its level. Now that the animal's weight is set, the next step is determining the antler type. In this process, weight influences what antler options are available. For example, a 620 kilogram moose will always have that big 300 scoring big rack. You won't see a level 5 max weight moose with a troll rack. It just doesn't happen. But if your moose is around 600 kilograms, there may be 2 or 3 different options available for them, and some can even troll. This is where things get a bit more interesting. The TruRACS system uses RNG to determine the final shape and score of the antler within its range. This is where you get variability. Even if 2 animals have the same weight and antler base, it's why you can have a moose that's supposed to score a diamond, but TruRACS gives it a lower score, resulting in a troll. The last roll is fur type. Just like the other aspects, the game uses RNG to determine the animal's fur. Most of the time, you'll get a common fur type, as 99% of the table is weighted towards those. But there's always a tiny chance, less than 1%, to get a rare fur type, like albino or melanistic, and trust me, when you do it, it's one of the most satisfying feelings in the game. So, why is all this important for great ones? Well, if difficulty level is based on weight, the first roll in the respawn sequence plays a crucial role in determining if an animal has the chance to be a great one. Now, there's always a chance for a great one to spawn, but that chance increases with heavier animals. This is why herd management works. When you're managing your herd and consistently harvesting animals with higher weights, the first roll that adds or subtracts weight starts from a larger number every time, compared to shooting lower weight animals, which typically have lower levels. Plus, the secondary factors which control the minimum and maximum values added or subtracted from the weight of the respawn also play a role. When a herd has mostly smaller animals, the game can spawn bigger ones to balance things out. So, when your fallow deer herd is full of level 1s and 2s, the RNG might roll a number like a 138 kilogram, which spawns a great one, and as we know, a 138 kilogram fallow deer will always have the spoon rack with a random chance for one of the 5 possible furs. This essentially explains why Expansive Worlds had to create the fabled level 10 system, because a great one can't exist within the game's existing level structure because the weight ranges for levels 1 through 9 based on difficulty are already set. So they had to make the great ones heavier to fit into the new level 10 system. This explains why they couldn't make a fabled level 4 for whitetail deer. The difficulty levels are already assigned and preset. Even though whitetails max out at level 3, if this level kept going, a level 4 would just be seen as a 4 easy, or a 5 medium difficulty, and so on, as they already exist. So, based on this theory, a max weight animal respawn gives you the best chance to trigger the random roll that spawns a great one. Essentially, the heavier the animal, the higher the odds that its weight could push it into great one status. So, when you're herd managing, keep aiming for those large animals, because that might just be your ticket to a great one. This theory explains how someone who doesn't grind can still end up with a great one, albeit at a lower probability, but not impossible. Remember what the Beard said. Jaxie Beard on the Expansive World streams has not stated that herd management helps spawn in great ones, but he also hasn't denied it either. He has said that not picking up your kills will hurt your chance at spawning a great one, among many other factors. He also stated that a reset population like what happened with the bears recently will not affect your grind either, which is true in a nutshell, but hear me out on this last twist in my theory. Since the old scoring system is still running behind the scenes, maybe there is something to be said about the old consecutive harvest metric, and by not picking up your harvest, you are not hitting the old consecutive harvest metric that used to play a big part in the 1,000 point diamond system back in the day. My conclusion on herd management and the great one is, herd management works because it increases the likelihood of spawning max level animals. These animals, due to their weight, have a better chance of stepping up to the next weight class, which aligns with the fact that there is now a fabled level 10 system. Now, even without herd management, grinds can still be successful because, on average, a max level animal will spawn every 100 harvests. However, with proper herd management, you can get a max level animal every 10 to 20 harvests. This significantly boosts your chances of getting a fabled animal faster, since you're getting 5 max level respawns to every 1 compared to a non-herd managed grind. I believe why herd management works so well is because you are spawning max level animals, and if every max level animal is just below the level required to be fabled, that it has a 10% chance that when that max level is respawning, to actually be a respawn of a great one. To clarify, I'm not saying that great ones spawn specifically off diamond harvest, but they do spawn off max level respawn rolls. Herd management just improves your odds of generating more of these max level respawns. Keep this in mind as you manage your herds, and you'll improve your chances of spawning that elusive great one. Remember, it's still all about luck, so even with herd management, it can take time. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these theories. Were you aware of the weight ranges for fabled animals? Do you believe weight is the key factor for great ones? Share your comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. And for more content, subscribe to my channel. Until next time, fellow hunters, happy hunting.